Testing, testing. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the reveal. I am here with you today, your host, Mademoiselle. I hope you guys are having a lovely Friday. Well, let's get into this. I have very interesting a few things to cover. See, let's share my screen. Alrighty, let's get on with our first video, which will be about the northern perspective. Here, give me 1 second. Thank you for all of those who are here. I am your host, Mademoiselle, and we are here especially to review our message that has been sent by CT, I believe it was CBC News, about the northern perspective being a right wing. I do not believe in that at all. So basically, they had an interview with Pierre Poilievre, which is basically our last hope here in Canada. So let me extend this screen with you all. And here we have this wonderful interview. And I wanted to start it here with you guys because Pierre has been an amazing guest in this interview with the Northern Perspective. Beautiful couple, Dave, and his wonderful wife, which her name is actually skipping me right now. But let's listen to this.
From my upbringing.
And that comes through in the messaging, and that you want to give that same opportunity to people, because I grew up in very similar circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
My parents were not well off, and my dad was always swearing, trying to fix the car, because we would always buy these beaters and fix them up, because we never had new cars. So, and I think that taught me resiliency as well, and that is a perfect lead into the next question, because right. In my life, especially in the last year, I was faced with a crucial decision on whether or not to walk away from this channel,
from the show,
walk away from really what Tanya and I have put our heart and soul into over the last 3 years.
This actually did really hit me, because I did wonder, part of me was telling me I would not be surprised people would want to attack these YouTubers from doing their podcast, or from sharing their point of view, or even their investigative journalism aspect of it. Let's be honest, Northern Perspective is just not a little channel. They do have a lot of subscribers, and they seem to be resonating with a lot of Canadians, so including me, who is a refugee in this country and blessed to be a citizen. So let's listen to this part. So yes, he did have a hard time wanting to stay, and he's asking Pierre about his moment, if he had these doubts, and let's hear it.
And I had to make a decision what was going to be the best for my family, and also what was potentially going to shape the rest of my life. Have you had a similar situation in?
I just want to say this: in life, it is hard to do the right things, and this is what we are about to hear. It's easy to walk away, but it's hard to stay and make the right things in life. And it's either something you feel like you want to do, or something you are terrified of. But sometimes some people are not feared, or I should say easily feared.
politics where you thought of, you know what, this is it, maybe I should walk away, but then you came to a different conclusion and said, you know, I can't drop this fight?
Look, I've been in politics for a long time, so there have been times throughout my political career that I thought, I've had it with this. There's much easier lives out there. There's a much easier way to go about life. But at the end, I believe in what I'm doing. I think that, you know, if you believe in doing the thing that you do every day, it's easier to keep going. It's not do
not a
what
chore.
you love, it's do what you believe in, because
it comes easily.
there will be days where you hate any activity,
not a chore.
even if it's your favorite hobby, right?
True.
But the thing that keeps you going is that you believe in the thing you're doing.
I smile because
Principles.
this is the advice that I give a lot of people that used to work for me and may work for me in the future, is when you stop believing in what you're doing, it's time to do something else. And it's interesting hearing that's mirrored back to me, because that's exactly what it is.
And Viktor Frankl, who's probably the greatest psychologist that I'm aware of, he said that a man who has a why can handle almost any what. And I think that's true. If you have a purpose, then you can persevere through the hardship, the misery.
I want to know why Canadians would want to vote for someone like this. I want to know why Canadians are looking for the easy ways. Nothing was ever easy in life. And yes, Carney was an easy way, but look where we are today. We are still dealing with Pierre's consequences, effect. Let's go.
The loneliness, the hell that inevitably will come your way. So I believe in what I'm doing, and I believe in it more than anything else. So I keep going. I persevere through it, plow ahead, even when it's.
And if it wasn't for you, sir, I should say I would not have any hope for this country that I became to love so much. I have seen way too many people ready to sell it out. We have seen way many people hating its own culture. We have seen way too many people wanting to destroy the good things that were already built. And if it wasn't for you, sir, keeping the faith, keeping the hopes, I would not be here today. You had shined the lights on all the scandals that's been going on for the past 10 years. You never wavered from any of it. And thank you for still sticking around, even after all the threats you've gotten in your life. Sir, I must say, you are deeply appreciated. But let's finish this interview now.
It's miserable. And sometimes it is. That's life. But it's like Michelangelo said of his painting in the Sistine Chapel. He described it as agony and ecstasy. The agony and pain that he went through to be a very old man looking straight up at a ceiling, painting for hundreds or thousands of hours. But there's also an ecstasy in.
Hard work pays off. Listen, people. Nothing easy ever pays off. Hard work.
The end product that you create. So you have to believe in the project. And if you do, you'll get through it.
So politics is a very demanding job, and especially as leader of the opposition.
Yeah.
You travel a lot across the country. How do you balance your responsibilities as a politician with your roles as a husband?
Let's hear how Pierre juggles politics life and family life together. Usually we don't hear them. They don't want to talk about it. Justin either. Thank God his wife was there to take care of all the kids and all the other stuff in the background. But Let's see.
And father.
No, that's a very tough job. But first of all, I have an extremely understanding
My
wife.
favorite part of the interview,
And
actually.
her aunt and uncle, Maria and Pablo, have stepped in to fill in a lot of the roles that and the efforts that we can't do ourselves. They often take Valentina to her programming, and they help us get the kids ready for school. They take them some weekends when we're out of town. And that's the only way this life is possible. My wife is an exceptionally organized and very productive person. She can do a lot in a very small amount of time. And so I'm very blessed to have family backing me up.
Amen.
And I just try to cut all the waste out of my life. I basically have my work, my reading, my family, and I try to get a lot of exercise, but that's it. That's all I do. I don't, you can't waste time, because every minute is a treasure.
Precious.
When you've got a very demanding job and you've got 2 kids, you're away. Every minute that if I waste time, it's time, even though I'm borrowing it from my job, like, if I'm on the road, if I start wasting time on the road by watching a stupid video or something, then that's work I'm going to have to do later on, which will be time I'll have to subtract away from my kids. So it creates a time pressure where I remind myself that every minute is valuable. You can't waste time, because that's the one thing in life you can't get back. So we're very efficient, we're very focused, and we remember what's important. It's about doing a few things right rather than a lot of things poorly.
A few things right rather than a lot of things poorly. Here we go. What has Carney done lately? A lot of things poorly. Let's continue.
One thing we wanted to ask you about is it's about a event that I think probably shocked most people, and I found myself in surprisingly in tears over, which was the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
Right.
And you were, I think, the first political figure in Canada to put out a statement on that. And it really...
What is wrong here in Canada? Pierre was the first one to send a message of condolences to another human being. Well, Canada, wake up. Because that was not Carney. That wasn't Jolie or any member of the cabinet. But that was who? Pierre. Pierre Poilievre. Sending condolences to another woman, a wife, a mother who lost her husband under political assassinations. Well, here we go.
Really shocked the world over. People that, even non-conservatives, I think they were shocked by it. But
very disappointing.
Since that event, does that bring your life, does that bring your family into focus, and has it changed how you view politics even in Canada, considering that there's potential violence against people on the right that are just trying to get a message of common sense out there?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, obviously, our thoughts are...
The question here is basically what ended up happening on the CBC News panel when one of their guest speaker actually called these 2 beautiful couple a right wing, making them a target of other people with different opinions. Let me pull up this interview, actually. Let's go find it, because that was wrong. And here we are. CBC's panel on Pierre Poilievre. RCMP. Is it despicable? Despicable, I believe. Let's see. I believe it was hold on, who was it? CBC. Let's see. We should find this somewhere here. The RCMP is definitely something else. But you know what? Let's skip that. It's not even that important. Let's listen it.
The incredible family of Charlie Kirk, and our condolences to them. He was winning a lot of debates, and I think the authoritarian left was frustrated that they couldn't win the argument, and then ultimately they ended the argument. And that's often what they do. There's a censorship ideology on today's left. The left has become very authoritarian, and they can't tolerate any kind of disagreement, especially when they're losing the debate. And they started with cancel culture, but then there's certain people who just refuse to be canceled. So that's when
just like you, sir. Thank you.
The other side gets violent. What's been so inspiring is to see that none of Mr. Kirk's supporters have responded with violence of their own.
No, hell to the no.
They've been very peaceful. There's been no windows broken, no riots, no counter assassinations, nothing. Very inspiring to see the peaceful response by his supporters. His wife, to see his wife forgive
his
the
wife
shooter,
too.
Unbelievable. I don't think I could have done that. But yeah, it does put it in perspective. We've obviously had death threats targeting at me. They go after my family. They target my wife. And we see more and more of the radical left
animals
trying to drive.
Those type of people
opponents.
should be very carefully handled. In a civil society, those type of things are very wrong. It could definitely jeopardize a civil society. And unfortunately, not only it jeopardizes our civil society, but we also had our own government who jeopardized our law and our court systems. So here we go. Let's finish this a little bit.
Political life, and we have to stand up against it. We can't run away or hide. We have to take the right precautions to protect our families, and we do.
Thank you.
But we can't run away, and otherwise we reward the kind of violent, threatening behavior that obviously led to Mr. Kirk's death.
And as a result of that, we even thought about situations, because Charlie Kirk was essentially one of us, just an influencer on the right that decided to pick up a microphone and have a voice. And I think there was a lot of trepidation shortly after that happened of a lot of influencers and conservative voices and people that may want to speak out but now may be too afraid. What's your advice to them?
Speak out.
Speak out.
Better to live on your it's better to live out your values and your principles than to be afraid, because we can't reward intimidation, threats, and violence. We have to have the courage to stand up and speak out.
Thank you, sir. And with that, I'm going to shut it down and let you go enjoy the Northern Perspective on their beautiful channel, because they have been a wonderful host for me as well. And I think they deserve to be respected, not to be called right-wing podcasters for the ignorance out there. So basically, this is what happened today. Well, today. due to the interview. So let me share the screen with you here. Share the screen. Let's get on to this. Basically, this happened. So, conservative leader Pierre Poilievre said the RCMP covered for former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau in cases would otherwise have led to criminal charges. For those of you who do not know, these charges were coming from, first of all, the Rideau Hall workplace review. There was also another scandals on the Aga Khan's affair. And there was the Arrive Ken, the Jasper Atwal, businessman convicted of murder. Remember that he visited Justin Trudeau's at the blackface controversy. Let me say this, Mr. Trudeau, that was a wrong of you. Especially, I would say, as a human being, that was very low of you. Canada's Philippine waste dispute. So the waste dispute here with Canada and the Philippines was an international rollover allegedly misled Canadian garbage shipped to Manila by a recycling company. Ho, ho, ho. Of course, all of this was a disaster. So the Philippines says they instead contain the household. Hold on. So the dispute of a rollover allegedly mislabeled Canadian garbage shipped to Manila as recycling. Of course, kudos. This is how we are here in Canada. Our Canadian political crisis. Here, a political crisis emerges after Christopher Freeland, the then Minister of Finance, dispute the Prime Minister resigned from cabinet on 16th. Oh, yeah. The Chinese government interference, 2019-2021 federal election, the COVID-19 misinformation scandal. We had the Eagle Spirit pipeline. Here was a $16 billion First Nation-owned Canadian pipeline proposed in 2018 by a businessman, Calvin Hallen, which would have shipped petroleum. Probably all gone, these money. Wow. What else did happen? There's not only the SNC Lavalade that everybody's talking about. There was the Elbow Gate. Elbow Gate was an incident in which Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau came into a physical contact with two opposition members of the House. Oh, yeah, that's when he elbowed the young lady and her boobs. So here, during the incident, Trudeau grabbed a Conservative MP, Gord Brown, by his arm and inadvertently elbowed New Democrat MP Ruth Elaine Brosseau in the chest, in the breast. Women have breasts. Thank you. Here we go. What else do we have that happened with our... Hold on. Let me get the right page here. Dun-dun-dun. Let me close that one. Stop sharing that one. My apologies. Yes, right here. I see it now. What's going on? Let's go share that screen again. I will show you guys. Here we are. All the ones that I was just talking about here, starting from 2021 Rideau Workplace. So, let's go. We'll continue on here. So yes, here, pipeline, the Emergency Act for the Freedom Convoy. Motion 103, also known as M103, was a non-binding motion in the 42nd Canadian Parliamentary stating that members of the House call on the government of Canada to condemn Islamophobia in Canada. It's also called a non-standing Committee on Canadian Heritage to carry out a study on how racism and religion discrimination can be reduced and collect data on hate crimes. The motion was introduced by Ikra Khalid, a Liberal MP from Mississauga, and it was passed. What happened again? Let's go back here. Online News Act. The Online Stream Act. So that was the Bill C-11, and the other one was under Bill C-18. There was also the prorogation that happened because he didn't want to step down, wanted to get his little Carney friend in. And then there was also the Pierre Elliott Trudeau Foundation scandal with the foundation. He's a Canadian. Here we go. Here, let's go take a peek here. Donation to the charity increased when he became leader, which is a big conflict of interest. Ooh, lolo. A board of directors resigned in the light of a 200 donation from a Chinese political strategist and a billionaire, Zhang Bin. I'm sorry here. I'm just recovering from a cold. Here's the SNC Lavallee affair, way down here. And then the Trans Mountain Pipeline that probably was canceled for some interference. And Trudeau Cash for Access scandal that also happened. The We Charity scandal as well. A lot of you remember that one. It made the headlines. And then we have the Yaroslav Honka scandal, which was a Ukraine Canadian who founded in the SS Division Galicia of the military wing of the Nazi Party. Oh, I guess that was the guy who was invited. Oh, that was sad, unfortunately, while Zelensky was there. Here, what else do we have before we wrap this up? Because, oh yeah, there we go. And the Yellow Vest movement with the arrest of Tamara Lynch. But looks like that was a political coup against her. And here we are. Justin Trudeau's scandals never ending. And here we come back here. We can find them all here again. Let's go up here. The Aga Khan vacation scandal, the SNC interference about Wilson Raybould for being threatened. And then when we have the We Charity in 2020, the Sustainable Development Technology in Canada, the slush fund, they called it the whole time during the question period and here and through all the hearings. And then we had the Mark Carney's appointment, oh boy, the Bank of Canada governor, as he was turned into a special advisor to the Liberal Party rather than a government role, allowing Carney to avoid ethics scrutiny of his private interests while advising officials. This year might come and bite him up one day. Racial and cultural missteps, the black face and the brown face, they call it, cultural appropriation during the India trip, political interference, misuse of power. Here we go. How many did we have? Here. Threat of liable lawsuit against Andrew Scheer. Personal attacks here. Corruption allegation and financial controversies. What is going on? Let me share that screen. Hold on. Oh boy, what is it going here? Share screen, of course. We gotta share it to a new screen. Here we go. 13, the Arrive Can scandal, of course. Guys, it is ridiculous. Ridiculous. The Winnipeg lab scrutiny breach. Oh, yes. Ooh, those doctors that were working there. 250 million to GC strategy. Oh, yes, the Arrive Can scam. 84,000 Jamaican vacation he took. His family. A 6,000 night hotel for Queen's funeral. Forgotten French chalet. Oh yeah, the failure to disclose the French villa in the We Charity scandal implicated Trudeau's oversight as critics question his administration ethical standard. Ooh, personal conduct is going on. Groping allegation, surface groped a female reporter, Indian trip, and Jaspal Atwal, public feud with Sophie Gregoire. After 18 years were publicized amid rumor of personal strain with some speculated infidelity unproven, critics tied to his decline public image. Get out of here, Sophie. Enjoy your life, please. Policy and governance controversies. The Afghan evacuation criticism. Safe supply drug program unsafe. The carbon tax backlash still going on. The housing crisis never ending. Can we just keep going here? Blacklisting rebel news. Wow. A parliamentary lockout. Oh, there's been a couple of them done. And here we are. What can I say? This has been Trudeau's leftovers we are still talking about today. And with that, what could Carney do? This is Carney today. Let's check this out. This is what Doug Ford does all the time. He goes and barks at Carney. And then a week later, he goes and pets him all the time for another week. And then he goes back barking at him for another week. And then he goes back petting him again. Let's be honest. Nobody knows what Ford is doing. Nobody knows what Ford is up to. But probably just making sure his spot is still shining. And here we go. Ontario is losing more auto worker sectors, employees, due to the tariffs. Not only that, with all the carbon taxes and all of this stuff and all of that stuff, nothing is ending. So let's see. What does he have to say about the RCMP that his predecessor had caused? Test. Hold on. Let me just check something here. Looks like I couldn't hear the video. Looks like I couldn't hear. Yeah. Let's get this window going. Haha. My bad. Got it.
The Prime Minister pushing back against Ontario's Premier, calling on him to get tougher on Donald Trump.
There's times to hit back and there's times to talk, and right now is the time to talk.
Mark Carney and Doug Ford met privately after the White House celebrated a win. Stellantis announced it's moving Canadian Jeep production to the U.S.
We will not send a grain of critical minerals down there as long as we're under constant attack by President Trump.
But Carney is ruling out retaliation.
We're engaged in deep negotiations, intensive negotiations on several sectors.
The Prime Minister says he told Stellantis how disappointed he is and got assurances in return.
They're looking at different model being produced in Brampton. That decision would be taken in the context of the finalization of the USMCA.
Carney's trying to protect the auto industry as premiers sensitive to their workers, voters, and industries demand Ottawa fight harder to get them tariff relief.
That same concern, that same sense of emergency is shared for the forest sector in this country.
A call from Western premiers to accept China's offer to drop tariffs on Canadian canola products if the Prime Minister scraps tariffs on China's EVs is causing more strife.
I do tend to side a little bit more with Wab Kinew and with Scott Moe when it comes to our approach with China.
There's no damn way we should drop tariffs on China, I'll tell you that.
We are not a united front anymore.
That's
This
hilarious.
international trade lawyer says those cracks in Team Canada could hurt talks in the U.S. and China.
You can't say no credible.
Looks like they'd rather make deals with China than with the U.S. How interesting is this now in Canada? With that, yes, let's go and look at Carney's RCMP's message. Let me see here.
Our province is bold, innovative, and deeply proud.
Let's go here. There we go, CBC. CBC. Where is that? Let's go see inside the interview. Oh, yes. Let's go find a CBC because it was definitely the CBC I was trying. CBC's RCMP. There. Trudeau. JO. Let's see. Was that the one? I believe this was. Is it a call? Oh, that was a few years ago. Actually, let's go see 6 hours. This was CTTV. Yeah. Conservative Trudeau. There we go. Got him. Let's mute that.
Gravity protection and enamel defense. New Pronamel Kids.
The attacks are escalating against Justin Trudeau, who for the third time as Prime Minister is under an ethics investigation. Conservatives now want the police to look into whether a crime was committed when the government awarded a multi-million-dollar contract to a charity that the Prime Minister's family has ties to, ties that include financial dealings. Trudeau's mother...
Hold on. That was a couple of years ago. Yeah, my apologies. Okay, let's go find these guys. Channel. Well, where is it? The announcements. That was an interesting panel. That was an interesting panel. CBC News, Pierre. Wow, I can't find it. It's interesting. Did it disappear, guys? Nah. This is really interesting. 11 months ago. CBC. Let's go look at this, guys.
The leader of the federal Conservative Party, not one to mince words when talking about former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. And although Trudeau is no longer in power, Pierre Poilievre continues to share his thoughts on the former Liberal leader's track record. Joining us now is our Parliament Hill correspondent Glenn McGregor in Ottawa. Glenn, Poilievre is now not just questioning Trudeau, but the RCMP.
Yeah, this is
Are we used
sort of an
to
interesting development. I think we've got to, before we talk about this, let's rewind the tape a little bit here, Faiza, back to the election campaign. Remember, Pierre Poilievre, the Conservative leader, was put in sort of an awkward position because he had to really disavow Trump, which has suddenly become the U.S. Canada's relationship with the United States, and the tariffs Trump had imposed became the dominant issue and allowed Mark Carney to win the election campaign. Since then, there's been an expectation that Poilievre might pivot his tone. He might try and take some of the rough edges off, present sort of a more amenable, nicer, open tone, and back away from some of the comparisons that some people have made to his policies and, crucially, his style to Donald Trump. Poilievre has disavowed that. He says, listen, I'm nothing like Donald Trump. He's rejected this Maple MAGA label that some people have put on him. But in the recent weeks, he really seems to be leaning in, at least stylistically and to a certain extent on policy, of some of the things that Donald Trump has done.
Just because he has policies that were similar in other part of the world, not just the U.S. They want to kill the DEI. They want to protect our country's resources. They want to bring prosperity. That means only Trump can do that. Only Trump can come up with ideas, and only his brain, and he's the only one that's allowed to use it. This is how our Canadians news how do you call it, pawns are trying to tell us to think.
Has called for, and his party has called for, an end to birthright citizenship. That is, people who were born to foreign nationals but born on Canadian soil automatically get Canadian citizenship. That's something that Donald Trump eliminated, and he tried to eliminate in the United States. There's still a constitutional challenge of it almost immediately after his inauguration. Now, Poilievre is pushing the same policy. Poilievre also tweeting out something this week about diversity, equity, inclusion, saying it has to stop. This was a major issue for Donald Trump, especially with the universities in the United States going after them, threatening to cut off funding if they used any of the money to support DEI programs or DEI-related staff in their universities. Now Poilievre saying he'd like to do that. And now he's basically advancing this theory about, during a podcast interview that he did recently, about the RCMP, alleging that they are essentially covering up for past Liberal governments. Listen to what he said on this podcast.
Many of the scandals of the Trudeau era should have been involved jail time. I mean, Trudeau broke the criminal code when he took a free vacation from someone with whom he had government business. It's just like, it's right there in the criminal code. If the RCMP had been doing its job.
This is common sense.
And not covering up for him, then he would have been criminally charged. And again, he probably violated the criminal code in the SNC-Lavalin scandal. These would normally have led to criminal charges, but of course the RCMP covered it all up, and the leadership of the RCMP is just frankly just despicable when it comes to enforcing laws against the Liberal government.
Well, of course, the RCMP could not enforce any laws against the RCMP because the RCMP works for the government. Their boss at that time was Trudeau. Thank you. And if nobody knows that, well, maybe y'all need to go and check it out and do your researches.
So let's unpack that a little bit. The leader of the official opposition calling Canada's National Police Force despicable, alleging that they were trying to cover up crimes that he says
they covered it up. We all know that.
He believes were likely committed by his previous opponent, Justin Trudeau. And he's referring in those remarks to two separate cases. First of all, the SNC Lavalin affair. Remember, the Justice Minister, Jody Wilson-Raybould, eventually left cabinet, and she had alleged that she was unfairly pressured by a guy named Jerry Butts, who was Justin Trudeau's principal secretary, to offer
pressured interference,
for kind of a sweetheart deal to a major
unethical
Quebec engineering company called SNC Lavalin, trying to get them to accept sort of a admission of guilt, but with no criminal
and the Privy Committee said so, by the way,
liability or civil liability involved. So the RCMP did look into this allegation, found that there was no evidence that
they did because the Privy Committee said so. Otherwise, they were trying to avoid it. But they were cornered. And then they acted like they were doing the right things, because that's what people do when they are cornered.
there to lay criminal charges at the time. It was later investigated by the Federal Ethics Commissioner. He said Trudeau had breached ethics rules. He came to the same conclusion about the other case that Poilievre is referring to. That's when Trudeau, on a Christmas holiday, took his family down to Barbados to visit a private island that is owned by the Aga Khan, the leader of the world's Ismaili Muslims. Again, in that case, the ethics commissioner did find Trudeau had breached the ethics rules because he was essentially accepting the gift of a free.
And that's basically what happened. So yes, Conservative leader Pierre took aim at the RCMP's independence because they had none in the recent interview at Northern Perspective. And yes, he did call them despicable and accuse the National Police Force of covering up for the Liberal government and former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. If the RCMP had been doing his job and not covering up for him, then he would have been criminally charged. The opposition leader said in an interview posted on YouTube Wednesday, listen, we don't need this today. We knew about this years ago and how it was poorly investigated. We heard about the threats. We heard about the witnesses that were not allowed to come forward. So yes, 9 witnesses backtracked. So here we go. This is what our Prime Minister is going to have to deal with now. And that's why earlier we saw him in that picture with all the RCMPs. So let's go look at one of those videos and find him. Right? Because we're going to, let's see. Here. Carney. RCMP scandal. Yes. A day ago.
Local is near and dear to my heart.
Local means fresh.
There's a great sense of pride in
Bear
being
with
able
me here,
to
it's coming.
feed our own family a product that we've raised.
Feed your family like we feed ours. See the difference with Conestoga Farms Golden Yolk Eggs, because local matters.
Only one part of safer communities. We also need the people and the resources to enforce those laws. change I'm announcing today is that we are delivering on our election commitment to hire 1,000 new RCMP personnel across Canada. Because tougher laws are only one part of safer communities. We also need the people and the resources to enforce those laws. With this significant investment, the RCMP will have the investigative and technical capability.
Wow. More RCMP for doing what? Nothing. The laws that you're not allowing them to go and fulfill. Alrighty. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let's go find it here. Reveals a bail reform. Yes for crime. It's CBC million CBS budget. Carney calls to stop screaming. That was 2 weeks ago. All right, so I guess that was it. Yeah. Let me ask you guys, what do you think? Does he deserve to go to jail? Trudeau has been quite the disappointment. Bail reform, bail reform. Alrighty, so let's go see what Jolie had to say about the Stellantis issue in Brampton. Let's go here. Miss, now Jolie is always going on, talking about stuff nobody understands, but she's doing something.
Well, let me be clear on Stellantis. I'm extremely disappointed about this decision, and not only am I disappointed, it's completely unacceptable. So we will fight for these jobs. We will fight for the jobs at Brampton. We'll fight for the jobs that were committed by Stellantis, and we'll fight for our auto sector. I've been in contact with Lana Payne, the head of Unifor, yesterday and today. I've been in contact with Flavia Volpe, who's an important voice in the sector. We've been working hand in glove also with the Ford government, and we're one strong Team Canada together. And the company has commitments under different types of agreements.
Well, what team are you talking about? And I don't know if you noticed, but y'all not together, Mrs. Jolina Jolie. Did you guys get anything of what she's saying or doing? Basically nothing. Remember, they were trying to get away from the American economy, so they are not dependent. They don't want to depend on them because I should say, state they're welcome, but they don't know how to just be reasonable and be responsible. Now they want to diversify from them, but then we need them when it comes to the auto worker. She does not know what she wants or what she needs. This is what happens when we have Mrs. Not Jolie, aka incompetent minister here.
With the government, including the fact that we provided support for the retooling of the very Brampton facility that right now is sitting idle. So we will make sure that we push the company and we hold them to account. And at the same time, what we want is we want to make sure that the workers are well treated, and their support needs to be extended by another year until 2027 at least. So
That's just because they're still depending on the USMCA deal and hoping and thinking that things would be the same. But unfortunately, I don't know about you, if things are changing now, what makes Mrs. Jolie, not Jolie, think that we'll be able to keep that same deal going? Instead of being proactive here, they're basically doubling down, like as if nothing is happening. So, Miss Jolie, keep at
We'll
it.
continue to push,
But no
and we
thanks.
will continue to make sure that we're fighting for the
Stop
jobs.
pushing and
I'll
negotiate
continue to work night and day
for
on
a
this
long
issue. I've had a
term.
conversation with the Prime Minister this morning and a conversation with Minister LeBlanc as well.
I was wondering how you respond to Mr. Poilievre's comments.
I think this is not time to do politics. The time right now is absolutely to be one team Canada.
She does not know what to
And
say to
when
Pierre
we
because
faced really tough circumstances in
he'll
the
put you
past,
back at your
we
place.
were there united. In 2009, when the company was facing major financial difficulties, Canadians were there. And so we expect Stellantis now.
You guys were
be
there to
for
throw
Canadians.
money without
And by the
any
way,
accountability.
150,000 cars made by Stellantis are sold every year in Canada. And so Canadians know what to do when a company doesn't necessarily have the interests of Canadians at stake. And finally, my last point is, of course, we'll sit down with the company.
Canada needs cars, but Canada does not make a car. So what are you going on like as if you own these companies? Nobody owns these companies, but the companies is owned by the board. No government owns them. Even Trump does not own them. But Trump knew that as a president, so he used his brain and he said, oh, well, what kind of deal can I give them? So why don't you usually stop thinking like a freaking government for a second and think like a business person and say, what can you offer this company, not as a government, but as a business exchange? Maybe you'll have to throw less money and remove a little bit more red tapes. Make it easier, okay? Make it easier for them to go back and forth. Make it cheaper. Do something. Give them a discount. We call it a special discount. Do something. But don't just keep coming and saying, we are fighting, when there's nothing for you to fight, but a lot of talking for you and negotiating to be done. So let's finish her up.
Of course, we will want to make sure that we can continue to work with them to see what can be done with the Brampton plant. I've said that to the Canadian CEO of Stellantis yesterday. I've reiterated our commitment to make sure that there are new models that can be built in Brampton at the Stellantis facility, because at the end of the day, we know that the Canadian workers are the best in line when it comes to.
I can't take her seriously. Do you guys think those CEOs took her seriously? I cannot even take her seriously. So why would those CEOs have a good report to the board? Remember, he is owned by the board. So the CEOs don't really matter anyways. Talk to the board.
So we heard through
What do they want?
a phone call we had with the company yesterday. And so in these circumstances, the process in which that was done was actually something that we really didn't appreciate. And so we've been engaging with the company for months now, knowing that the Brampton facility was going to be retooled. We've invested millions of dollars in that facility based on the commitment that they would be investing in a new model. And so that's why if they don't do
in a new model, but not in staying here. You guys didn't attach that clause that you would promise to stay in our country for another couple of years. Did you guys get those assurances before you get those monies? I guess we just gave them the money. Take it. Just give us a model. Come up with a model for us, really.
So we'll hold them to account. Meanwhile, the door is always open to have more further investments on the part of Stellantis.
Thank you, Jolina Jolie. And with that, let's get on with my sister, Jag. Jag is shining the light on Derrick Lee Cardello-Smith, who has been in jail for 28 years. So let me just play this part for you guys.
I wonder, all of the content creators that did talk about this story, because
We did.
a few content creators talked about
A couple did.
this
Just a few.
story.
Just
a few. Who was it?
Let's not mention them. It's
Just
fine.
me.
No need.
It's me, sister. I did. I covered it. I read his case. That's all I did. But I was really touched by it.
It's so interesting.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
They went so far out of their way. Let me read a little bit of this. This is the most horrendous thing. This is Derrick talking. This is the most horrendous thing I have ever seen in my life.
Sorry, guys.
And you should all be ashamed of yourselves. But you have the power, and I'm just a pawn. As long as you, Ms. Worthy, and Sean Combs, thank you, Mary. As long as you, Miss Worthy, and Sean Combs uphold their end of the deal, then we have a deal. My family is safe. My money gets to grow into Sean Combs' company. And the grape he did upon me gets covered up. And all the evidence stays with Kim Worthy. The evidence of his grape on me and the red rum evidence gets to stay with you too. Yeah, not a gatekeeper, a grape keeper.
So here,
disgusting.
this is very sad. This young guy was set up pretty much. She's reading one of his transcripts from the court. Yes, and I was very touched by that. He was forced to take a plea, and in order to keep his family alive, and money he invested in the Sean Combs Bad Boys back in the 90s, residuals and profit his share goes to his family. But as long as he stays in jail, and please go check Jaguar's videos. I know she's getting a lot of, how can I say, backlashes about this, but Jaguar Wright is a whistleblower. Jaguar Wright is not to be messed around with. Jaguar Wright is a fighter. She has been actually doing great. She has grown amazingly. Her interviews are really, really unique. And it's about hardship. It's about scandals. It's about the law, or I should say the court system, mysteries of putting people in jail knowingly while they are not guilty. So basically, Derrick is still saying he has never committed these rape allegations against him. And also he pleaded self-defense when he did took someone's life. And somehow there was DNA found from the rape kit that was implicating Sean Diddy, Puffy, Stinky, Predator, No Love, in jail for another few years. So yeah. So this is who she's talking about, this young man who has been in jail. He's probably close to his 50s as well. Maybe about the age of Diddy right now, in 50s. Who has been getting actually acknowledgement right now through Jaguar Wright to shine the light on the justice system, basically discarding him like a bag of garbage. Very inhumane ways, and forcing him to accept charges with the prosecution and the judges and the cops all in on it. For their good friends
Person,
up
do you
in
have
New
to
York.
be
But here,
especially to be female? Yeah, not a gatekeeper, a grapekeeper. How disgusting of a person do you have to be, especially to be female? To use the pain of thousands of women who have been violated as a weapon to help a deviant monster maintain an illegal sex ring
that's it.
with the help of law enforcement, state officials.
Very sad. Terrifying. No wonder people are scared to come out. But now they're coming out.
We all have to set the record straight to anyone following Jag's chat who preaches wrong information. Oh, I say, oh.
People are attacking her even in the
Honey
chat.
pot.
Get alive.
She sat there and she used all of those grape kits to throw cases on the diddler's enemies and whoever she saw an enemy.
That is so bad.
God knows
It is
how many men are sitting
disgusting.
in jail for crimes they didn't commit
Mrs. Elworthy will be going to jail for
because
these
she was able to
crimes.
sit there
Watch this, guys. It's coming.
and play Annie up
Retribution is here, looks like.
with other human beings' pain.
Because it's out. There's no way
No
it's
one
going
ever
unknown.
expected this realm
It's
would be
out.
so wild.
It's out.
No one ever knew until they oh, sweetie. Straight setup artist, straight setup queen, and a pure sociopath. You would have to be a sociopath
A sociopath.
to do these kinds of things to another human being on behalf of anyone, and all for money.
Of course,
For money.
For money,
She
everything
was a
is
judge.
done easily.
She was a state's attorney.
Sadly. This is the world we live in. When it comes to money, people will do anything. Ruin people's
the reason why
lives.
she sat there and she admitted all of this in open court
Yes, Miss
was
Elworthy
because
did.
she knew she was going to be protected.
You're right. You're right.
She knew it.
She knew
She
it.
knew it.
He's very emboldened. Yeah.
And she didn't care.
He's been locked up since 1998.
So remember what I was saying about the
Little
Epstein,
set
the
in the
Diddy, so all this is tying in. I mean, and then yeah, it's man.
You want to know what's funny? Someone actually referred to Kim Worthy as the Black Ghislaine Maxwell. So, y'all heard what Derrick said?
Mm-hmm.
See, they had a deal. Should we talk about the deal a little bit?
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, we don't have to talk about the details of the deal. We'll let Derrick tell you that himself.
As long as
But there was a deal made. A deal. Which is why he agreed to go along with all of this. But he asked for this hearing for the truth to go on record first before he would agree to it. So I'm going to read this to you again, what Derrick said.
Listen carefully.
And please don't stop hitting that like button.
We love you, girl. Let's go.
Yeah, I like it too.
Ah. I didn't know she was saying that.
This is the most horrendous thing I've ever seen in my life. and you should all be ashamed of yourselves. But you have the power, and I'm just a pawn. As long as you, Miss Kim Worthy, and Sean Combs uphold their end of the deal, then we have a deal. My family is safe. Why would he need to say that? Well, that's right. They were threatening to harm his family.
Yeah.
Of course. Why would he?
They were threatening to harm his family. Then we have a deal. My family is safe. My money gets to grow inside Sean Combs' company, which would be Combs Enterprise. And the grape he did upon me gets covered up, and all the evidence stays with Kim Worthy. The evidence of his grape on me and the red rum, the self-defense red rum evidence
Self-defense.
gets to stay with her as well. Kim Worthy replies, yes, correct. Derrick says, okay, well then.
It's not crafty. It's her craft.
Sorry about that.
Let's do it since I have no choice.
No choice. Poor guy.
The witness says,
Smart dude, though, for doing that.
no, you do not. The court says, okay, we appear to be all set. Anyone have anything closing to say? This is the judge.
The judge is in on it, too.
All right, seems like everything, we got all of this going good. Okay,
Yeah.
Everybody understand? Anybody got any last words?
That's the judge.
I mean, corruption, I don't even say at its finest.
Good
Let
Lord.
me get on with
With that, let me stop it right
What-
here. Oh, yeah, let me tell you guys. Another of Sean Combs' witness protection. Not witness protection. John Doe came out. So for those of you who don't know what's going on with Diddy, it's a never-ending saga. Okay, guys? It's a never-ending saga. This guy his name is Jonathan Hay. Let me introduce you to Jonathan Hay. Jonathan Hay was one of the witnesses at Sean Combs' trial. And he finally came out to say that he was one of the John Does. And he has his own lawsuit. So let me give you a little hint from my real life street stars reporting about Jonathan Hayes.
Through these little cracks, like what's going on. He's like,
Thanks to Jaguar Wright for telling this young man to go and do these interviews. She is the whistleblower again.
And stuff under my eyes. They push me back into this room, and like there's this like ottoman. I fall in the back of the chair, and then Diddy's comes in, and I could hear his voice. I could see his feet, and I'm like trying to look up, through these little cracks, like what's going on. He's like, you don't deserve Biggie Smalls. You don't deserve, to be with the Biggie estate. He's just going on and on and on and on and on, right? And like sitting there like tripped out because I was in a home invasion, 2 years prior to that.
Right.
And next thing you know, Diddy is like putting his dick in my mouth.
Well, I'm going to stop it right here. If you guys want to go see this beautiful interview, Rihanna's ex-publicist, Jonathan Hayes. He worked with many artists. Please go check him out. He is an amazing young man who's been through hardship with Diddy in the industry, and how it is for any person to sort of be able to have, how can I say, stuff done to them. This is a workplace. These are workplaces, you know, and looks like Diddy's employees are treated very inhumanely. So I do wish Jonathan Hay all the best, and I do hope that he gets back. With that, let me go to share with you guys my end of the day memes. Oh, before that, we're going to do the Jim Morrison's poem as well. So let me do the memes of today. One of some of my favorite memes here. Share screen here. Here. Here we go. Alrighty. Let's full screen this. Glad it's Friday. Okay, guys, it has been a week. This week has been run. So here we go, guys. Another meme, one of the ones that made me laugh today. Friends, hey, you coming out tonight? Me being like, oh, sorry, wish I could. Super busy with all of this work. Look at that, the Jameson, the Cheez-It, pizza. That is cute. I like when they do those. When you know they're lying, but you want them to finish their lies. Dogs, memes are amazing. May your week not be bananas, guys, okay? There's another week coming, so hang on tight. Not only, guys, it's not Friday, it's not even Thursday. It's Friday night. Ha ha ha. Okay, so here we go. Me, when a conspiracy theory seems dumb first, but then makes complete sense after several hours. YouTube videos. Well, look at that. Orange the new black. The face is funny here. I can smell the weekend from here. I wish you guys a lovely weekend. And here's my weekend plans, guys. To move just enough so no one thinks I'm dead. Yeah, we'll try that. I'm very fidgety, by the way. And there's another one, climate. I'm going to build a wall so tall you can climate. That actually made me laugh. And these two with their freaking stupid laughs and their hat is killing it. So thank you for joining me. Let me get my little book and get into the wilderness of Jim Morrison. Right? So I've been reading these poems for a while now. So let's go back here. Where was I? So the anatomy of rock. The first electric wildness came over the people. One sweet Friday, sweet was in the air. The channel beamed. Token of power. Incense brewed darkly. Who could tell then that it would end? One school bus has crushed with a train. This was the crossroads. Mercury strain. I couldn't get out of my seat. The road was littered with dead jitterbugs. Help! You'll be late for class. The secret flurry of rumor marched over the yard and pinned us unwittingly. Mount Fever, a girl stripped naked on the base of the flagpole. Interesting. In the restroom, all was cool and silent with the salt green of lanterns. Blankets were needed. Ropes fluttered, smile flattered, and haunted. Lockers were pried open and secrets discovered. A sweet music, wild sounds in the night, angel siren voices, the baying of great hounds, cars screaming through gears, and shrieks. On the wild road, where the tires skid and slide into dangerous curves. Favorite corner, cheerleaders raped in summer. Buildings, holding hands and bopping towards Saturday. These lean, sweet, desperate hours, time search the hallways for a mind. Hands keep time. The climate altered like a visible dance. Nighttime women, wondrous scarement of doubt, sprang sullen in burst of fear and guilt in the womb's pit hole below the belt of the beast. Interesting. Worship with word, with sounds, hands, all joyful, playful, and obscene in the same infant. Old man worship with long noses, old soulful eyes. Young girls worship exotic Indian with robes who make us feel foolish for acting with our eyes, lost in the vanity of the senses which got us where we are. Children worship but seldom act at it. Who needs temple and couches and TVs? You can do it on a sunny floor with friends and make any sounds or movement that comes. Roll on your back, scream with mirth. Glad in the guilt of our madness. Better to be cool in our worship and gain the respect of ancient and wise wearing those robes. They know the secret of mind change reality. Well, I want to say thank you for joining me. With that, I wish you a lovely evening. We'll catch you again in the next reveal, hopefully next Friday. See ya.